I
This is Tom Grassi, and this is 30 and 30, and you're watching Illogical Canadian.
And here we are.
Yep.
Live we are. Guys, we got a while to talk about this. I mean, although I do gotta go for dinner at around 8, but we can figure
Plus,
it out
after
right
this, I'm gonna be beelining it over to Duck.
now. I don't blame you. So I'm Logical. That is Helv. So we're here because I wanted to do kind of like what Red does with his videos sometimes, and just kind of give you like a behind the scenes look of it, like a director's cut, as he so calls it. So object here is just simply we're gonna look at the video, we're gonna be stopping throughout, try to address some things, like talk about music, or we're gonna talk about things that I missed or cut out or just never got to put in the first place. And obviously some things I've forgotten in there as well. So there will be some explaining. There will be addressing a lot of things as well. Portugal is we're going to be here a while, so we're going to try to make the most of it. If you would like to ask anything regarding the video, I left the Cash App at the top of the description because I'm going to try to keep it to donos only. If you don't have Cash App, we can figure out another way. Just tell me what you have in the chat and we'll figure it out from there. So with that being said, with all the disclaimatory shit out of the way, we're going to go ahead and take this up. We're going to change to this. And we're going to bring this up. And we're just going to kind of go along together. But I do want to... What's it? But first of all, we'll talk about the thumbnail, because I know the thumbnail's not featured here. Actually, what I'll do is this. I'll just back us out of this for a second. And I'll kind of bring us in, right around here. So first, the thumbnail. This was a thing that Valor did. And obviously, you can see a couple things in here. First, you got the main picture in the forefront of the players coming out of the tunnel with Nick Saban. On the bottom left, you got the tornado damage. On the bottom right, I believe that was from the National Championship, though I cannot confirm that. Now, obviously, you got the text up top, the Crimson Tide logo there in the center bottom. But there is one other aspect of this that I don't know if many people have realized. But if you look, on the edges here, I don't know if you can see where that contrast color, where the contrasting color is. If you could see that left side where that color kind of comes very sharp from light to dark, and then on the right side it kind of goes on a slant. That is it.
That's the tornado.
That's the tornado. Right in the back, right through everything. It is all there. It's real. Like I liked how the thumbnail came out because. Oh, what the hell? Okay. I think I gotta. Yep.
Yeah.
Think I gotta fix my zoom on that.
It is what it is.
Hold on. Let me see if I can. No, not that. Okay, I think mine.
Actually, show the image that I made regarding what we're doing.
What do you mean? What image?
You remember I sent you the thumbnail on Discord
Yeah, and I have
For
the
this?
thumbnail.
for this? It contains that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so you can do a minor explanation of why. Why with
What do you
that
mean?
as well.
What do you mean your explanation?
Well, for the image. Anyways, I can also show up what I proposed as well before we go.
Yeah, might as well. All
right.
We're going behind the scenes on this. Might as well.
Image
Get,
file.
get,
Yep, hang on.
actually, I can get it up. Just give me a second. I can get it up.
I got it.
I got it.
It's going to be a bit simpler on my end.
Okay, I have that up on my tab. I'm going to see if I can't switch out of that and go into here. There we go.
Got it.
I got it.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, you got,
Got
it.
it.
Actually,
Yeah.
I think it's the same thing. And
Yeah. But you
what
can
I
see,
did,
that was the original thumbnail. Originally, it was going to be this. Honestly, you got Saban with the national championship with his team on the right, the tornado damage on the left.
yeah.
And
I
you
can
got-
kind of see why Valor decided to interject and say, fuck it, let's do this one, do his. Because this kind of looks a little bit too busy.
Yeah. Again, but yeah, this was the original thumbnail, obviously. Now, the reason that I chose the thumbnail that I did, well, one, I thought, the simple hints and everything were good. Like, I thought that, it gave like a cleaner look to it, and it even gave some Easter eggs in there that some people might not notice at first glance, so I thought that was cool. This one too is very sharp, but
Yeah.
ultimately I just decided to go in a different direction.
Mhm.
That's realistically all it was. So I'm gonna take that off. I'm gonna take YouTube back up.
Yeah. I'll remove the image that I threw in from the studio.
All right, I got that. All right, so with that being said, we're gonna come back here, and we're just gonna kind of go through this.
Yep.
I'm gonna take. Oh wait, god damn it! So, there we go.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, to say that the season ended on a high note with a win in the Capital One, I'm gonna turn that down. Is something.
Mhm.
Honestly, you had to beat the shit out of a helpless Spartans team that couldn't get anything going that entire game. It's really saying something. Yeah, unfortunately, it wasn't the national championship like you had ever so hoped for, but hell, a bowl game will certainly do. Alabama, this next season for you is going to be one of importance. But you need a fire under your asses. And you really need... So I kind of want to explain that part a little bit. When I said you would need a fire under your asses. Because at that point, they weren't exactly... What's the word I'm looking for? They were built good, but they weren't reaching that next level yet.
Yeah.
And obviously, part of that played into, like how the SEC that season played out, like LSU and Auburn, and all that shit playing out of their goddamn minds. And they really needed a fire under their ass. They really need something to do. Or they just needed a change, or they needed people to step up, or both. So in that aspect, it's what's it called? It's more of a trying to ensure everything's fine. Right, in 2009, right, and they had a bad season. Obviously, that got them the Capital One Bowl and everything. But they needed something to reel them back into that national championship scene. And at the time, nobody knew what that was. Was it like a bad year for Bama? It could have been. Was it a sign of degradation in the next few years? Could have been. But at the time, no one knew that. So you kind of just had to go off of, what we had. So that's kind of why I threw that line in there. If you want to ensure any sort of success in the near future, something needs to change, but I'm just not sure what. What do you mean there's a dangerous event setting up? Why are we doing this now? For God's sake. Alright. Let's just prepare ourselves. Hopefully everyone will be okay. Now here, I had the option of telling Health to put the regular intro in, but I thought about it before telling him anything. And I basically just told him, look it, you could even test this. I'm like, look it, a regular intro is not going to be appropriate here for this.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like,
so keep playing it, and you'll explain, and I'll explain here what I did.
We kind of just went like the
keep the music going and do fade in of each text.
Right. Well, that too. It's like you want to give a bit of a
ambiance feel.
Right, an ambiance. Exactly. You want to kind of get the feeling.
Yeah.
I am reading your questions, MCS. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I am reading it, and I forgot to put them on
the screen. Let's pause before we get to Act 1 here, because I gotta explain music here.
All right, go ahead.
So, reason why I picked this song to kick us off is I played this song with my grade 12 jazz band as our final song overall of the school year. Here, I was in both jazz and concert band for high school, and I think collectively when we were all choosing the songs that we wanted to play for the final concert of the night, final concert of the school year, which was held outdoors. Surprisingly, we go to the back of the school. We play the songs next to the hill. The parents are all watching there, and there's a food truck. Yeah, yeah. Surprise! They get food trucks for that one. But yeah, we played this song as the final song of the night. I think we played this as the final song that we've done overall.
Damn.
And yeah, it was one of the best choices we've done for a song.
Right.
And it basically was made with a little bit of a samba feel in the middle, but I decided to focus on on where it feels on the intro and the outro, where it's like that slow beat.
Right.
Where it's reminiscing of shit.
No, yeah. I want the kind of the feely entrance for the nice ambiance of foreshadowing. There's gonna be a lot here that I'm going to realistically explain, specifically in this coming act. Just be prepared for a lot of pausing. 2011 was by far the roughest year in the southern United States. And that's true because you had multiple outbreaks, not even just in April. You had various events happening in basically from Texas and Oklahoma pointing all the way to the Carolinas. That's my area of the southeastern United States, southern United States, however you want to word it. You had countless outbreaks, outbreak after outbreak. You had obviously the big outbreak that we obviously talk about in this video. We had the one that happened 2 weeks prior, which we'll get into that in a little while. There was also Joplin down here, that EF5, the El Reno EF5, back June. Not to mention, like, up here in the Northeast, we had some issues too. Like June 1st, 2011, we had that EF3 come through Springfield. There's gonna be like a lot of So honestly, like there's gonna be a lot of
Also looking through the other stuff here, if you let me understand, there was a lot of weather events that happened in 2011.
Right.
But overall, there were 12 separate billion-dollar weather disasters in that.
That's including hurricanes, or is that not?
Includes heat waves, severe flooding, and the historic tornado.
Oh, right. Okay.
And it includes Irene.
Okay, so it does include Irene. Okay. So Irene will be that one, and so would count as one. Okay. So without it, it'd be 11. But I see. But yeah, like it was a rough year for weather. Not year. Fucking 15 years ago.
If I'm at this sweet.
It was a very tough time for severe weather.
Yeah.
The 2011 super outbreak was one that will never be forgotten. That a lot of people still have stories of to this very day. The stories from the survivors are just immense. But what does this have to do with football? I'll explain that a little later, but for now, you need to know this. Before we talk about the main tornado, let's talk about the setup of this event. All my sources here come from one book written by ABC 3340 meteorologist James Spann. On this book, all you can do is pray. The setup for that entire outbreak was just what he described to be as a powder keg. Right. And in weather terminology, a powder keg means that the atmosphere is very volatile, and it was very... God, how do I word it? It had there was a lot of everything coming together, and it kind of just basically blended to create this entire event.
Yeah,
like you had, even in the days leading up to it. I'll talk about this more in depth in a little bit, but just the basics of it for now. There were things that were shockingly hot. But again, I'll talk about the in-depth part of that a little later with the synopsis. So just wait. Missing meaning, a strong jet stream supported a lot of atmospheric conditions that come together, and the ingredients set themselves up in a way that's so extreme and so volatile. This is a correction I need to make. While the jet stream brought some of the conditions together, it didn't bring everything together. See, the jet stream, all that does is two things. One, it brings on that cool, stable air from the north, and like Canada and all that, the Arctic, the cold air that's needed, the cold, stable air. It also pulls from the west that warm, dry air from the deserts of New Mexico and Arizona and all that stuff. And then the other ingredient in that is the warm, moist air from the Gulf of Mexico. Like, you kind of had those things coming together. The jet stream was there, going southwest to northeast. And that creates what's called shear. Shear is what, causes winds to kind of like collide with each other. It's like you ever just like try to go in a body of water, like a bathtub or a pool, and you take your hand, you kind of just do that little slip there, and it creates like a little water, like a little whirlpool. It's like that.
Yeah.
It's like that. And that's just what it's doing, because in that case, the water is being sheared together. It's basically while the direction may be parallel, the movement of the water is not. It intersects, it perpendiculates itself, and it causes that spiral. That's the same situation with this.
Mhm.
That's the same exact situation here. That it was as tense as you possibly could have it. We were talking instability values upwards of 5,000 joules per kilogram. Now, again, that was the instability. I meant to say the cape. But the instability, for all intents and purposes, was maxed. Hell, it was off the damn chart in some cases of how bad it was. Off the chart.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get shit that high from a regular weather event.
Yeah.
But yeah, and now in meteorology, the number that comes to mind mainly when talking about concern for possibility of an outbreak is around 2,000 to 3,000 joules per kilogram, and that's what they call the baseline. There's always a baseline in weather forecasting that there comes with it an enhanced feature. Like if it goes higher than a certain value, then you got to start weighing your options. Like honestly, you could get tornadoes as low as 1,500 joules per kilogram, or you could get or whatever. But those ones aren't as strong for outbreak conditions. Even though it may not be historic, outbreak conditions still are at around 2,000 to 3,000. Some even have it at 25, like in 2,500, like kind of in the middle, which is fine. Like you can say that to be a good middle line to go off of. But that's the parameters I guess they work with at the National Weather Service. Unstable air mass. The instability that April 27th had showcased, it was absolutely violent. One of historic proportions not even seen since the 1974 super outbreak. It was a super outbreak that, mind you, kind of impacted the same areas, although not the same cities or towns or wherever it got hit, but the same states were affected, up and down, even into Canada, and a little portion of Ontario here. Like, that's kind of where it was. Like, freaking, you had stuff like Ewan, Ewan, Alabama, EF5, wiped the fucking town out. Oh, F5. The Xenia, Ohio, F5, fucking wiped that town out. Your freaking 74 was an outbreak of historic proportions, and it's like James Vance said, it was one of that tornado. Like tornado outbreaks like these are once in a generation. Now, could we be due for another one? I don't know. I'm not an expert at this shit from April 3rd and 4th of that year. With April 27th, everyone knew that this was coming at least a week in advance, with meteorologists talking about it days prior to the actual main event. Now, sure, states like Texas and Arkansas, parts of western Tennessee, and parts of Mississippi got some of the effects on Monday and Tuesday. Specifically, the areas I was talking about were like eastern Texas and the central Arkansas, southeast, maybe even the southeastern Oklahoma, northwestern Louisiana. Like that was Monday. Like there was still activity on Monday, but it wasn't as severe. Tuesday, that shifts because a new low. It keeps. It doesn't move, but it expands. Like, because that new low was forming over here, it was moving this way, or this way, I'm not sure which way it was going, but with that new low, it expanded the field. So again, East Texas, Southeast Oklahoma, Arkansas, Northern Louisiana, primarily Northern and Western Mississippi, basically anywhere west of Oxford, I think was the biggest blow. And portions of West Tennessee, they were getting it on Tuesday and Tuesday night. Then Wednesday, as you see in a little while, like Tuesday night and Wednesday morning, like a kind of cluster kind of forms over here and just kind of becomes this large linear system, what they call a QLCS. Wednesday was the real jackpot. This entire outbreak would go on to produce 362 tornadoes. Look at this. As far as New York, look at this.
Yep.
You see it. Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, Illinois got one, Northern Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio, Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, New York. Michigan got one too, I guess. Like, you see just how widespread the entire event was.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know here it says 26 of the 28. Of course, that's from Encyclopedia Britannica. But the National Weather Service here recognizes the 25th to the 28th as the outbreak. So, I don't know where the hell Britannica got that information of 26th and 28th, but yeah, during its entirety. Some 200 alone on April 27th. So, let's kind of break this part into 3 segments. The synopsis of the day, the actual outbreak, the outbreak itself in the morning and midday, and then the Tuscaloosa tornado. Right here, so you'll see it right here. There's going to be a lot to unpack in this part, so there's a lot. You kind of see, well, you get the beginnings of that line. This is like right around here. That's where your line begins to kind of form. Those storms moving through Arkansas, from years of strengthening. There's your back edge of those cells around Tyler and Dallas, the main synopsis. North of Houston and Beaumont. Now, as I mentioned earlier, then it becomes a cluster right in instability values, or the CAPE, which also stands for the, like you see now at this rate, it's one large ray mass. Like there are like embedded storms, but there's nothing overly severe.
Mm-hmm.
Current available. But over time, you're gonna see. Oh yeah, in this part too. This reading, I want to say was from the 26th, because by then they did not have the full scope of it, but this is what they had. This was day 2. You kind of just see like that, the way those lines steepen. That's your shear. Right here. These are your shear lines. You can see low-level shear right around here. You got your mid-level shear, which this line, by the way, off the goddamn charts. That's going to be like that. And a typical outbreak, that you do not see. And you got even the upper level shear right in here with the veering of the winds, adjacent to this dotted line. You got over here, you got to see how high it makes it in terms of altitude, like from a top-down view. See, at first it goes like this, and then it kind of just spirals out of fucking control. Down here, you had values like, you had like CAPE for like surface value, mixed layer, all that shit. But again, that was for the 26th. Like, that was for one of the earlier readings that morning. Because they do readings every few hours to get people the best picture overall for an event like this. You had your CAPE, you had some lapse rates here, and those are high. I think Span even said himself that those numbers were very high. The numbers here, especially like on the mixed layer, the surface, the CAPE here for a 26 said it was around 35, like 3 to 3,500, and that was at a fucking rate of at 46,000 feet, almost 46,500 square feet into the air. And they have down here, like, obviously the sounding analogs. And right here, you can see significant. What that little sig. You got shear values. Look at the shear values down here. I'm going to see if I can't I can't zoom in on that. But,
where do you... I think I see the image file. I can load it up.
I got it. It's fine. But the down shear, I got it. Don't worry. It's fine.
Got it.
Hell, it's fine. Don't worry. Like I said,
Where?
you got your down shear, 252 knots of shear. That is how fast that wind was moving and kind of intercepting itself. And you got your upper shear. That's like the winds that are higher up. You know, that's closer to around the cloud, like within the actual cloud bases of it. And you can already see just how bad it is. Like 281 knots. Like it's showed it as 5,000 joules per kilogram. Now, what does that exactly mean? It means right here. Look right here. You see this? You see this little area right here that I'm tracing with my mouse? That's your linear event in the morning. That is your quasi-linear convective system that devastated basically the self in the morning. There was so much. Look how it comes together. That this part gets a little disorganized. Can just pop up it's this part that takes over. Produce a tornado. Because look at that line kind of just shifts together. That northern part begins to weaken. That southern part's getting ready to take over or multiple and absorb everything. Then you get the cutoff. That cutoff is dangerous for a reason. Because look at over here, like for example, we're gonna come around Meridian, Mississippi, for example. Well, on one hand, Meridian's not getting any rain at this point. You're practically getting no wind. Everything's calm. And then this is when you cross that barrier right here, that sharp gradient. That's where you get the very strong winds that are just straight line. Those are strong straight line winds that are going through. Now, in that, obviously, you get some spin-ups, which we will long see. And now, obviously, as it gets into Alabama, it gets into Tuscaloosa now. At this rate right here, this is Tuscaloosa, where I'm circling my mouse. Right there, they're getting strong straight line winds. Here's what they didn't tell you. Or rather, here's what was not really known to people. Down here, not too far down, this would be the EF3 that hit Coaling and Vance in the same county. And then up here, this little comma head that's north of Tuscaloosa will go northeast, clipping parts of Fayette County, which impacted the city of Barry. And an EF3 dropped and hit the town of Cordova. Cordova, nobody fucking tells you about. But that town was hit by 2 tornadoes that day. The first one came in the morning. And even large. And then as it moves through, it begins to weaken and move northeast. Now watch this blob here. This blob right here. That is your midday event. An instability factor like that can just spawn storms out of... That's the midday line right here. Tuscaloosa would not be touched by this. Birmingham would not be touched by this. Gadsden, Anniston would not be touched by this. This is for basically this line. Basically anywhere north of Gadsden, up here in the east, that was your area right in here. Basically, for a good idea, anything north of Interstate 59 and anything west of I-65, what got it good in the midday event. Weaker tornadoes because the dynamics were not fully there yet, because the atmosphere was, trying to recuperate the energy lost. And here's another thing that I didn't put in the video, but should have. Like, after that morning system moved out, okay, there's the number one thing you do not want happening after a system like that moves through with more expected later, the number one rule: you better hope you don't see the sun. If you see the sun shining like everything's okay, then game's on for later in the day. Because that sun being out with little to no cloud cover, that sets up the recipe for disaster. It breaks through. It absolutely just breaks through. The air becomes unstable over time, and with that instability lifting, specifically from the Gulf, because the other two ingredients are already there, but with the ingredients coming from the Gulf, slowly but surely, I want you to watch something closely. I want you to really keep an eye on like right around here-ish, north of Tuscaloosa. Okay, just watch here closely. Now, I want you to know what happened.
This was a
We have to
system
this
that
line
had the
crossing.
chance to produce
Guys out.
some of the
Bonds right there. Right there. You see how that was over here before?
Mm-hmm.
There's that storm that comes up like this, hits Coleman, and then goes into Marshall. This being around Gunnersville. That was the one that I told the story about Ari Hallmark in that video. That's that storm right
And
there.
we'll get to there. And we'll get to there.
We will.
damage not seen in the continental United States.
Right there. There it is.
Since Hurricane Katrina.
Yep.
There. See how quickly that storm just amped up? And look back here in Mississippi. Well, hell, I know you're not a weather guy, but from just looking over here like, of a lot of these yellow, orange, red blobs that are Mississippi,
Mhm.
what does that tell you?
You are firked.
Exactly. Because those are cellular systems that just came up from nowhere. Your spawn. To quote Span, it was like bullets coming from hell. Back in 2005. This one here, I don't think that was the one.
How
Was it?
devastating that storm was for.
No, it wasn't. This one down here. You see this right here? You see these two little red blobs right here, Health?
Yeah, I see them.
That is the storm. That is the same cell that spawned the Tuscaloosa tornado. There it is.
Uh-oh.
There's your Tuscaloosa storm right here. By this point, it's down in Mississippi because of this northern part.
Mm-hmm.
Now, but like I said, it's down right here. There's another one here. There's another one here. That's Tackleberg, Phil Campbell. This one here is, I think, one I never got down, at least to my knowledge. This one up towards Haleyville, Bear Creek, or the Gulf. Again, right here. That was another long EF4. Touchdown right over here in Pickens County. Went up like this. Wait, I'm sorry. Let me redraw that. It was like this around here. And it kind of took a turn to the right and it went back to the left, went back to the north.
Mhm.
Cordova hit again. That was the second Cordova storm. Coast. And right here, by this point, the northern tornado is already lifted. That southern one is taking all of the energy away. With this setup and there, that is the last frame before it hits Tuscaloosa. Right here. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
And over here, this is your dry line. That, anything behind it, everything gets stable. Dew points drop, temperatures drop. The threat of severe weather falls. Anything ahead of the line, well, you're basically just fucked.
It's very
This is a
similar to
move.
that. Well, all
And then there it goes right into Birmingham. Got other storms down here. Got more up here. Got more here. They're all just a mess.
also being
All a mess. Then over here in Birmingham, the Tuscaloosa tornado lifts. It lifts at center point. What they don't tell you is that over a little bit, just a little bit to the east, from the same goddamn system, the same cell, spawns another tornado, another EF4. Goes like this into Georgia. That storm, as you'll see, it continues to go north and east. The cell finally dies somewhere over here. I'm
Very
not sure where,
volatile
but it
and
finally
being very
died.
dangerous. It's susceptible to just quick bursts out of thin air. So, why were meteorologists so concerned with this?
There it is, right there,
They were
still
concerned with this
and
because
dead.
one, the storm's pattern was ever so changing, even leading up to the
Mhm.
days.
Absolutely
And even
dead.
in those ever-changing days, the risk threat seemed to increase day by day.
Again, there's a line
Every
still. There's that
meeting
exit that
captured by
dry
the
line.
National Weather Service
By
offices
this point,
across the
the
area,
28th,
basically
the event's
seeing the
over
same
for
trend.
Alabama, for
And all
Mississippi.
those data trends and everything
It's
was
over.
sent to the Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma.
And this was your day one. This was day one. This is the last outlook they put for the 27th because obviously with everything happening, they couldn't put out another outlook. But this is it right here. This is
Go
your
to the
quick
pointers.
One,
Go to the pointers.
2, 3. Highest level. The high level is the highest you can go. And it still is. Right here. Basically, the northern half of Alabama practically. The northwest corner of Georgia. I say eastern and northeastern Mississippi. And parts of south middle Tennessee. That was your bullseye. Over here, this is your tornado probability. Right? Honestly, this hatched area is bad enough. I'll get that in a second. Right here, but this is the highest. This is the second highest level you can get because there's one higher. It's 60%. You never got to that. We got the 45%. Now, what does that mean? It means that in any of these things like 2%, 5%, 10, 15, 30, 45, that means that within 25 miles of any given point in that 45% or any of these can be a tornado. It means there could be a tornado 25 miles within a given point from that area. Now, with that hatched, this hatched area signifies the risk of significant tornadoes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking significant. We're talking EF2 and higher. Because the
Not
whole
EF1,
tornado range
not
is
EF0, which surprisingly, I'm going to give you a little side
no,
fact
there was
about.
plenty of them. EF0s, EF1s, yeah.
Yeah. Also, a little bit of a side fact here. I know this is going to be stepping away from it, but I know during 2020 we had an EFO next to the airport, right up here. No deaths, obviously.
You guys
It
didn't
was-
have your tornado rating thing change until I know the U.S. had it done in 2007. Canada didn't follow, I believe, for another couple of years. I'm not sure when it happened, but that's your area. This whole area here was gonna be your bullseye, and you are not high risk. From here, we can specifically see just how volatile and dangerous this system became the closer we got
Yeah.
to the outbreak of April 25th to April 28th. Right. And this specific part for the 27th, again, that's your target. That is your main target. It just was. It's just hard to explain. So, yeah. But specifically, the jackpot of April 27th. Just pure, unadulterated violence was to be expected in those words.
And that was from radio interviews I had listened to from 15 years ago. That just goes to show how.
Look at that.
Yeah. Okay, go back to the first one and then just slowly reveal each one of them with the greater than or less than signs.
And that was from radio interviews I had listened to.
Pause it here.
So, do you remember what this first one was from?
Don't remember, because I just did looked them up, and I found all of them basically on the same Google Images. Yeah. Move slowly. We had this one.
From 15 years.
Pause.
Oh, yeah, that one.
And like I said, you use the greater than keys. Greater than less than keys. We have this one where there's just a school. I would say, what is that? A school bus in that image?
There is, yeah. No,
Yeah.
actually, that. No, it's not.
Yeah. I chose Holst's Mars with this one, with this part, because we were like, yeah, this is going to be a bit nutty, and we know it was going to get nutty.
Oh, yeah.
It's basically like, we knew the bullshit was going to happen. We
Right.
got this one as well, where, look at one of those spots. Oh, it's right there.
Yeah, right here.
That used to be a house, I think.
Yeah,
But guess what? Boom, gone.
right there. There it is.
And then the final image.
Yep, I know. I got in there, and there.
Goes
No,
to
I
show-
play it and just do that. There we go.
And I think that one's a
That's
warehouse.
Hackleberg.
Hackleberg. That was a
That's
warehouse. I think.
Hackleberg. I can tell you that right now because that used to be the Wrangler plant.
Yeah.
You know, for the jeans and stuff. That used to be that was the Wrangler plant.
Yeah.
And that was
All
the
right.
EF. That was the Hackleberg Phil Campbell EF5.
How terrified that some of these meteorologists were, while also conveying the facts to
So
the
valid.
viewing
Waiting,
audience
shouts up.
in hopes that everyone would be prepared just in case the worst case scenario happened. Now we know that.
And now here's where we go.
Yeah, much.
Pause.
And you got critiques for some of the language, some of the way you worded some shit here.
Yeah. Because technically it was a shitstorm by its own default. That's what I called it.
Was
Yeah, it's
seen
like
as
we
a-
get all the wording here.
but basically was seen on a
Yeah.
smaller scale as to what would happen on April 27th. But just one more pause, as there is
Pause.
one other event.
When the red text shows up, boom.
There we go. So again, 25th. That's your start of the outbreak. That was what the old low. The old low is
That's
what
what-
brought stuff to Texas and Arkansas initially.
That's what I called
Technically-
here. We started
Also, with
shitstorms.
the new low formed on the Tuesday, the 26th.
Mhm.
Spawned a good amount of them, good amount of tornadoes, but not like before. It was more what's it called? It was more what's it called? Can't forget a fucking word. Like it was more eventful than the 25th in a sense. Obviously, not as eventful as the 27th. So the 27th alone was the jackpot day. The 28th, it was just the remnants and whatever was left just going through.
Yeah.
And they all eventually died out.
But you notice I did a TF2 spy quote on the 15th. Were
Yeah, I
you
know.
forgetting about me?
Yeah, and that was where you got flack.
Yeah, I got flack for going full spy there.
Now you got flack for a lot of the language used in this part.
Yeah.
So we do need to briefly
I think it's
mention
just the calendar that I got
the
flack
camera
for.
scope of this
No,
entire
it
event.
was what you put in.
The
Yeah.
forgotten outbreak.
Which is just the
This
calendar.
is April 15th.
Mhm.
Well, 12 days, so a couple weeks prior, there was another outbreak. Wasn't as bad, but it was still an outbreak. Instability here wasn't exactly terrible. I think if I remember looking back at it, it was like around 3 to 3,500 joules per kilogram. It's right around right around there.
Mhm.
And you know, you saw tornadoes like over the state, but there wasn't as many. There wasn't even nearly as enough as it was on the 27th. Not close. Well, you went like there even produced tornadoes like obviously in the southern and eastern portion of Tuscaloosa, mainly areas like Skyline Boulevard, in parts, not all of, but parts of Alberta City, right around the
Mhm.
Veterans Hospital.
Yeah. Key note here: this where we're going into. This is the section of songs where
15,
MCS
2011.
kind of gave me a bit of
This
flack.
was a smaller outbreak that people tend to nowadays
We're going
call
into it.
an outbreak
There's
because
a
it
lot of
happened
lines
2 weeks
going.
later.
Yeah.
There was a tornado at ranked EF3 that hit the southern part of the city of Tuscaloosa, luckily missing the University of Alabama and its campus and off-campus housing for the most part.
Obviously, you still had issues with winds going into the storm and winds going towards it, on the other side of it. If I'm correct, wasn't the Tuscaloosa tornado was in the stadium? No. It looked that way because of how the cameras were set, but it was not close. We will show you a map of it, I think, at some point this year. I'm not sure where it happens,
It was
but
kind of a precursor to what would happen 2 weeks later, as I had said. Now, the thing with this that we need to understand, just in the bigger picture of the overall synopsis of the weather on this day, there was growing concern from, like, as the days kept getting closer, that an event of possibly generational proportions was to take place. And once we got to a period of 3 days out from the main jackpot day, confidence was already high. But somehow, despite the confidence being high enough, it continued to go higher. On the day 2 outlook, you can hear James Spann.
yeah, oh wow, I paused right at the right fucking frame. But BAM! No kidding. Fucking on the day 2, again, they still didn't have all the information they needed. They would eventually by the morning of. And some outlying data that came in, but it's like the bulk of it came in on the morning. But for the day before, it only had Alabama and Mississippi and Tennessee and all that. It only had them in a moderate risk. Not exactly the high risk, but a moderate. And, with it comes what we've seen in this documentary.
Whatever extreme outlook. Just talk about how potent the setup looked. How it looked like the classic powder keg type.
And also, it shouldn't go without saying. If you're in a tornado warning, don't be like these people. Don't just be out in the middle of the fucking open.
Yeah.
Don't be outside. Don't be in a car. Don't be in a mobile home.
Actually,
somewhere dirty.
If you're gonna be outside in a tornado and you have to be around somewhere, duck and cover or some on the ground.
No. There's ways to go about it. They have proper procedure. They always tell you lowest floor of a sturdy building in the center of that building.
But if they can't.
With basically as much distance between you and the outside as you possibly can get.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you have an underground shelter, that works too. In fact, those are preferred. If you are in a mobile home, they tell you, get out of the mobile home and go to a sturdy structure. Go away if it's like a neighbor or if it's a community center or a church or wherever. Just to go there. If you're in a car, you're on a highway, you're in a tornado warning, they tell you, stop, get off at the next exit, or just get off at like whatever pass you can get, and go into the nearest restaurant, convenience store, warehouse, department store, whatever you can get into that's sturdy, and take shelter there. That's what they tell you. That's what they tell you on TV. That's what they tell you everywhere you look.
Environment we were supposed to have in the southern U.S. that day, and God forbid, he was actually right. Just take a look for yourselves. But warning, viewer discretion is heavily advised beyond this part due to the natural violence that occurs.
The camera, and we've been through this rodeo before earlier today with the Coleman tornado, and again, it looks like there might be debris underneath that, Jason.
And
like
this is kind
At
of
that
where
point right here, where you just said that Wilson there's debris under that, you gotta think at that point it's in the county, but it's still a ways away from Tuscaloosa. So the fact they're able to see that but that far is remarkable. Now, from where I remember, they said the camera is actually at the Tuscaloosa County Courthouse.
Mm-hmm.
Let's gotta find where the hell it was. But essentially, the county courthouse, right? Oh, it's right here. The county courthouse is in the northwestern part of the city, so you were gonna see it closer than you probably would. And the only reason people thought it was gonna hit, Brian Denny, because the other station that we showed coverage of, they had their camera right at the stadium. So while it may look like it was getting close, it's not. It's because of the way that the cameras were set. That's why.
Debris cloud. It may be picking up dust from some of the agricultural land in Tuscaloosa.
Speaking of
County.
which,
Course,
I
would
think
imagine
this
there's
is
a
the
lot
point
of
where
dust,
we got to talk
considering
about
that
the
we've had
music
so much
choice.
rain,
for
but
this one.
sometimes it can get up underneath that first layer of soil.
Yeah.
So, this song, the song that I chose for this one, even though it does sound a little bit, when we get to a certain point in this, it might sound happy. The title of the song is still Siegfried's Funeral March and Finale from Wagner's opera Twilight of the Gods. It's still like it's a little bit of a, I know it's mostly sad, but it was the one song that me and Elijah kind of agreed, yeah, it made sense for this scene. Because this was basically the giant crapshoot and a half.
Right.
Soil and get to some drier soil, but that's a look at what is most likely a very large tornado. We can see the wall cloud. In fact, it looks like the wall cloud is a little bit bigger than maybe it was when Old Shoe was looking at it. We can't see the tornado as well as I think we could just a few minutes ago. It seemed to have brightened up a little bit underneath here, but I think there is a tornado right in there. You can see where the cursor is going.
Cursor,
Looks like
I'll
there's
try to follow
Debris down. There's clearly debris.
There's a debris cloud that extends out that far, so we might have an invisible funnel
Right in here, there it is.
and only have a little bit of area that's visible.
But again, that you don't know, that's the rural part of the county. There's not much. Yes, there's people that live there, but there's not as many structures out in that part.
Look at that. We got a multiple vortex tornado on the ground. There it is. You can see the multiple vortices that are rotating
Stand a
around
little to the left, and we'll get that thing centered. This is a large multiple vortex tornado that is almost into downtown Tuscaloosa. And again, you should have been in your safe place 20 minutes ago. But if by chance you're hearing me at the last minute on the radio, get into a safe place right now. Small underground if you can. No underground, first floor, small room, lowest floor, near the center, away from windows. While you're looking at that, don't forget we have a possible tornado, could be a large one, that's moving up into Marion County out of Lamar County.
Yep, that was an EF3.
Another one that's passing way north of downtown Birmingham.
That's the Cordova EF4 he just mentioned.
The far western tip of Blount County is moving from Sipsey and Empire. Look at the debris. Look at the debris in that. Zoom in tighter, Jason, if we can go in tighter. Look at that. Goodness gracious. This will be a day that
See right there. You see how it's like thin for
history.
now, right? You kind of see like there's your contrast right in here. That's your tornado. It's thin. It grows. It gets wider.
This is a large
It already gets wider. You can
tornado
see it
coming up
already.
on downtown Tuscaloosa. Be in a safe place right now. And if we called the name of your community in any of the other tornadoes, the same thing. You know, we're not able to show every single one of them live on television like that. Let things change.
Sometimes, yes, like the funnel appearance can change, but it doesn't matter if it's still causing damage.
And again,
Take
the
shelter.
camera, for those of you that are watching,
This is the
for
part.
first
This
time,
is the
is
part
on
of the
top
music where
Tuscaloosa
it
County Courthouse.
sounds a little
We're
too
Back up on
Yeah.
this so it's not so shaky.
which
Look
I
at that.
understand.
Right. And this thing is still southwest of downtown Tuscaloosa, moving northeast, right toward the middle of Tuscaloosa. The last time we had one like that in that part of town, one this big, was probably March 21st, 1932, even before my time. Destroyed so much of Tuscaloosa and Northport. But again, that is a huge tornado that is moving right up on downtown Tuscaloosa. And again, and I want you to use this as an example when we show these other radar signatures. That's what you're going to get today. That is why there is a high risk today. This is a very rare day, maybe a once in a career type day, reminiscent of the outbreaks of the 70s, the super outbreak of 74. So if you're just joining us, so now we're starting to see the flashes. Those are the fuses adjacent to the transformers designed to protect the utility system, Alabama Power Company's infrastructure. But again, that is something that you pray that you never, ever, ever see. But we're looking to the southwest from high atop the Tuscaloosa County Courthouse. And again, we're going to stay with this as long as we keep power. If you watched us earlier this afternoon, we had a tornado just like that came through Coleman. I would suggest this might even be larger than the Coleman tornado.
I think it's much larger than that one.
This thing looks like it might be over 1/2 mile wide, maybe up to 3/4 of a mile wide.
It's coming across Joe Malisham Park. Well, actually, just past Joe Malisham.
Yeah, well, you can see it now.
Mhm.
There's one. There's the other. Right in here.
We're back to back.
That's the edge right there.
Way.
Goodness, look at that.
That is huge.
Now, okay. And obviously, you're going to. Actually, I'll fast forward a bit.
This is
If you're down around Colusa Avenue, 35th Street,
Stillman College.
Greensboro Avenue, get to
Stillman
a safe
College.
place. There goes the Skycam. Look at all the stuff flying around.
That's coming over.
And he's about to say that's going to come over 350, I-359 and Scott Boulevard. So this is where the discrepancies of this kind of lie. So on their radar at the time, it was showing a tornado in the southern part of the city. It wasn't showing it in the downtown area like it actually did, but it still was in. They thought at the time it was, in the southern part. Scott Boulevard represents kind of that southern edge of Tuscaloosa. Here, obviously, we can see on the actual map that will pop up in a little bit. Like, it did not hit Skyline. If it did, it hit the western. It hit before the intersection with 359. So, and it kind of came up on the city, just went through it.
That's coming over near Interstate 359 in Skyland.
Look at that.
Nobody should be out there. This thing is going to be coming basically right down Skyland Boulevard. This is an extremely violent situation. Notice the power flashes. Please.
It's just past the Tuscaloosa County or the Tuscaloosa City Police
The police
Department.
department is down there.
It's
Right there. See that? That's how you know it's a dangerous tornado. When a tornado starts producing these little separate vortices of it from the actual tornado itself, that's how you know it's severe. That's just how you know.
cross it over the industrial area in South Tuscaloosa near all the places where they take the cars when you have an accident.
All right, take it full.
There's
There's
the
that back
backside of it.
side.
Again, that is moving basically down Skyland Boulevard. And again, you can see debris falling from the
You can
sky.
see like little bits there. I'm gonna go back.
There's the backside of it.
Again, that is moving
Gonna see if I
basically
can-
down Skyland Boulevard.
Right there. You see that? Right there, you see that?
Mm-hmm.
That's debris. That is debris.
Yep. And speaking of which,
again,
we're
you can see
going
debris
to
falling from the sky.
Okay, this is where again,
Again,
we're looking at a live
camera's right at Brian
from a
Denny
Tuscaloosa
with this
Tower
one.
camera, so we're getting a great perspective of this thing right now, and it appears that it's not on the ground at this second, but I mean that could change at any time. Chris, if you see any more any damage, if you'll please call us back and let us know.
Yes, we will.
Hey, thank you so much, Chris.
Thank you.
All right, again, that was Chris. He is monitoring a dangerous situation in Tuscaloosa County. We're watching what appears to be at least a funnel cloud, a large lowering off towards the distance. And at one point,
Looks like there's a rope going.
yeah, it looks like this thing's trying to touch back down. In fact, from our perspective, it does look like this tornado is touching down now. It looks like there is a condensation funnel trying to reach the surface.
Yep.
And again, what you're looking at is live from a Tuscaloosa Tower.
And by the way, this news station is based out of the University of Alabama, as I had figured out. This is they're based on the university, so honestly, they all had to take shelter from this because it was damn close to their station. Pure violence. There it is again. Tragedy hit the city hard. This tornado right here. Here's a path. Starts right up in here in Northern Green. Here's Northern Green County. That's where it starts. Trickles through. By the way, this tornado right here was a part of that same storm.
yeah.
But that northern storm died out and it kind of went like that.
Yeah. Move a little forward because I also threw in the handy pull here.
Touchdown, Rural Green County. All right, focus. And this right here, number 44. Right here. Then it treks up. It widens itself when it gets into Tuscaloosa because it comes through a good way for the rural parts of the county and then hits the city right in here. This is where the damage is. Alberta City, Forest Lake, Cottondale, Holt, Peterson. It hits there. After a while, it treks. It crosses the line here. This is Jefferson County. This is where Birmingham is.
Mhm.
Up in here. Now, Birmingham's down here. At the center of the city is down just to the south of this. You get places like Virginia Mines, Smithfield Estates, Pleasant Grove, Hueytown, Lipscomb, Winona, Powderly, Forestdale, up here, Forestdale, Fultondale, Pinson, Centerpoint, where it lives.
Yep.
You know, it lives right here. It lives just past Centerpoint. It doesn't get to Trustville, as it's the next town over, the next suburb town over, but that's kind of your limbo right there. That same system will produce this one, number 51. It's not just down right here. It goes right through St. Clair, misses Etowah, which is where which is where Gadsden is. Calhoun, Jacksonville, right? Jacksonville State is right in here. Right in here, okay? So that's a little fun fact. That's where Jacksonville State is. That's where the Gamecocks played. You didn't know before, do now. And it just goes into Georgia. The next county over from Tuscaloosa County in the southwest. Before it tracked up and going right through the center of Tuscaloosa. Yep. The hardest hit areas of the city were notably the intersection of 15th Street and U.S. Highway 15th and 82. That is correct. That is factual. So that intersection is highly popular. I'm going to see if I can find. No, I can't. So it's actually, University Mall, right? It's a big mall. DCH is, 15th and 82 is here. The hospital is right over here. Druid City Hospital Regional Medical Center. That hospital is still there. It did not get hit. They sustained damage, but they did not get directly hit. As a result, honestly, they're still there today. Fuck 82. As well as the neighboring suburb of Alberta City. Alberta City, you see there. Fuck, let me go back. See Condale, Holt, Peterson. Alberta City's right over here.
Yep.
Brookwood. This is where the initial touchdown was here, in just southwest of Mantua.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was spotted somewhere over here, as well as the neighboring by a storm chaser, and that was when it was in Knoxville, in front of Knoxville. Over here is where the county line is. So Mountainville, that's in Hale County. Don't even worry about that. Ralph, Foster's, Romulus, Jenna, that's in Tuscaloosa County. Once they cross that line, stayed north of the interstate the entire time. Skyland's down here. This is Tuscaloosa Center, right in here. But the eastern part of that center, with the damage, obviously, and there were some arguments that EF5 damage might have happened around here.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, they didn't think so, and they rated it in EF4. And then, honestly, right here, Bessemer, Hueytown gets directly hit, Concord, Fairfield, Forestdale, Fultondale. There's center point there. It misses downtown. Oh, so close. Like, you are nervous on that day. Alberta City. Alberta City is important for this because that is where a lot of students that went to the University of Alabama had lived off campus. So the university was impacted majorly by this. And it just keeps getting worse. After leaving the city of Tuscaloosa, it continued into the Rosedale and Forest Lake neighborhoods, and just continued going on and on and on. Going through Holt and Peterson before crossing out of Tuscaloosa County and impacting, at the time, the largest city in the state, Birmingham. It's now Huntsville, by the way, in terms of population.
Yeah.
They had tore up
and
the
like
western and northern
like we
suburbs of Birmingham, primarily areas
three
like
schools were
Hueytown
affected with this one,
Yeah.
but we had
UAB, it wasn't as affected. It was close, but I don't think it got hit. Again, it got damn close. Sanford as well. Sanford was close, but I don't think it did get hit. If either school did, then there were minor impacts that really didn't hamper their day-to-day ops. But honestly, University of Alabama, they got hit hard. Stillman College, like you heard earlier, fucking. There was another one. Stillman, there was plenty of there's plenty of small colleges in around Tuscaloosa, so they also got affected by it too. Virginia Mines and other areas in that western suburb, it was just awful. The path was estimated to be just under 81 miles. It was given an EF4 ranking with winds around 190 miles per hour. They didn't go 5, even though, again, arguments saying that they probably should have, but they didn't. And they decided to go with a high-end EF4 because the damage was very close to a 5, but just didn't meet the parameter for it. 53 people died in the city of Tuscaloosa alone from this one. Now, this is another angle from it. See, it looks like it's not down, but it is. To say that it was absolutely tragic. There's a little rope. Let's
But
try to
it's
get back
also
down.
not
You can see
covering
the
the
cloud
morning
is expanding.
storms when a big wave of strong
Just
straight line winds
Expands and expands
has
and it
impacted
expands.
directly the city of Tuscaloosa and the campus of the University of Alabama directly. So this wasn't just a one-off event; rather, it was a three-stage prong event, with the morning system featuring strong straight-line wind.
Right. And this is where we get to the morning. That linear system we saw earlier, that's what hit Tuscaloosa and the rest of the state earlier in the morning. It's what happened in the afternoon that we saw the most destruction. But the morning, for a lot of these weather stations, they were severely impacted because a lot of them rely on their camera systems to operate and focus on the weather. And with power being out, and the number that I heard at 2 o'clock local time on the feed that I watched, there was 250,000 people in the state without power by the time the main event began. 250,000 homes and businesses were without power. That's pretty significant because there's a large amount of people that were not able to get information because the infrastructure was severely damaged.
With embedded tornadoes that were stronger than in a usual quasi-linear convective system.
Right. And here, the story's the same. Like, with the QLCS, you figure like the tornadoes there are weak. Like, they go no higher than an EF1. Because the damage there is not as strong, it's weak, it's short-lived. But these ones,
QLCS,
you're stronger.
Yeah.
This was a heightened volatile environment for Tuscaloosa, for the state, for the region. Ultimately, hundreds of millions of dollars of damage would be recorded with this tornado alone. It was so bad that the President of the United States at the time, Barack Obama, and his wife, the First Lady, Michelle, had visited Tuscaloosa just 2 days later to observe all
I
the
couldn't find
damage
a picture
and
of
to just
Michelle
pray
Obama
with
in
the
a
people of the
position.
city that were
Yeah, but Michelle's in the
position
back.
there, so that-
You see,
Yeah.
you can see Michelle
Oh, you
in the
can see
back.
your back there.
affected.
I had to explain
It was
that to everyone.
simply tragic. I asked a question earlier to where I said, how does this tornado tie back to the Alabama football team? Well, here's the weird but also very tragic connection. You see, at the time, Alabama long snapper Carson Tinker had lived in Alberta City, just off campus, but still in the actual city, but just the suburbs. You get the point. Point is, he was near the tornado when it hit, bunkered down with his girlfriend Ashley Harrison, who was a grad student at the University of Alabama when this happened. The area had sideswiped their home and essentially done major damage. Carson Tinker had suffered
Broken wrist, ankle injury, concussion, cut and laceration, obviously. With damage like that, it was strong.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Yeah.
And the fucking
that's-
thing, we're 20 minutes in. We've
toddling
covered
for
so much
injuries,
already. Still
Yeah.
more.
but unfortunately, his girlfriend, Miss Harrison, did not make it.
Mhm.
So the emotional struggling that this guy went through was immense on top of the physical pain he was already feeling. Brotherhood comes in many ways, and the team helped the city clean up and rebuild. And the
Yep. Right there.
Mhm.
Honestly, this is a bit of an exaggeration, but
Yeah.
it symbolizes. It gives off the same symbolization here. It's just
way that
shattering.
they knew how. They got involved in the communities, as a team should. Because you want to build support, you stand by your community.
He's right.
Some 10 years out, after the tornado had even impacted the city, Nick Saban had even spoke on the matter.
Well, obviously, this is a day to be remembered by a lot of folks and how they were.
Mind you, this clip from Nick Saban, this was not after the
This was
tornado.
from
This was from
this was-
2021. This was from 5 years ago.
Yeah,
This is on the 5-year anniversary of it. On the
Yeah.
10-year anniversary of it, I should say.
10-year anniversary. A little bit of a
Probably one
side
of the
note
most
for this one, if you don't mind. When we get towards Act 3, you'll see that I continued this clip for a reason.
Right.
We'll get there.
Oh yeah, we will get there. Absolutely.
Yeah,
It's just a lot to
understand.
yeah, a lot to unpack with the whole thing and everything. It was rough. It was fucking rough. Fuck. I keep doing that. I keep pushing the fucking space tab, the space button, when I'm on the goddamn StreamYard and not clicking it on the fucking.
Okay, quick question. Do you want me to throw... I want to see if I can actually throw the video up via stream.
I got it. No worries. I got it.
Devastating storms.
I'm just being an idiot. I'm
tornadoes
like, what the fuck am I
this
doing?
part of the state has ever seen. This certainly is something that affected our community in a huge way personally, affected our team, affected our families, and we all know somebody who was affected, by this storm in a pretty dramatic way. So,
Yeah.
but I also think that because of this storm, it really
Jesus.
galvanized
that.
the
Phone was
community in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
A lot of people came together to really help each other. A lot of people contributed to what we had to do to rebuild our community, and it's actually better now than ever before. But certainly something that our presence was really necessary, was something that, we try to do a lot for a lot of people, Terry and I, Nick's kids. But I think our presence, just being there for people, was probably one of the most important things that we did. And I think it's a lesson for a lot of us to learn that when something bad happens, people need the support of other people. And it's something that really made us feel part of the community.
The tornado in Tuscaloosa had gotten so outrageously bad that graduation had to be held in August of that year, where you can tell that the emotions and the tributes to those students that had died on that day
Yeah,
playing out.
we're gonna get
The emotional pleas from their parents, among other family members, to take the stage, accepting diplomas for their deceased kindlings. It was. I don't know why I use kindlings there, but you get the idea of what I'm trying to go with. Heartbreaking. It was something that the right here, Coleman Coliseum. In fact, I do want to bring up a quick note because there was, I watched back the old recording from that day, right?
Yeah.
And I remember hearing James Spann reading a report that was saying the tornado damage was so severe that from University Mall, which is nowhere near where Coleman Coliseum is, that you could see Coleman Coliseum from that distance because of how bad the damage was. Needed a distraction from badly. A city that had been reduced to rubble. A city that had seen so many lives taken, impacting many areas of the city, many commercial and industrial. Hell, the whole outbreak itself was just majorly bad. Stating James Spann's All You Can Do Is Pray for a second. This is a story from. Yeah, but I want to look at this. Look at this. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I think that's a Wendy's too.
That's a hotel right here.
No, not that.
Wendy's right there. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Damn, now I'm hungry.
Different tornado. Fuck. To kind of give you an idea.
I'm not that fat.
The scope of this entire day.
Oh, it's worse. Phase into the Arby's sign.
There's this there's an Arby's there too. Arab. In Arab lived this girl named Ari Hallmark.
at the time, she was still very, very young.
Hmm.
And when a tornado that had originally...
Yeah, and I know it doesn't say her name on it. I'm talking about Ari Hallmark, but she did. Like, the story was in her eyes. Like, she told the person who...
I think she used the pen name on this. I think she might have used the pen name on this one. I don't know.
She did not.
Okay.
So this is someone completely different, as far as I'm aware, because I have no idea. But essentially, the story was being told through her eyes and through her experiences of what she remembers. She's thriving now. From what I understand, she is thriving now, which is great. But obviously, you know, for someone like she was, I believe, 6 at the time it happened. So you can imagine just how scary that is for a 6-year-old to go through.
Yeah.
Wow.
He hit the city of Coleman, hit and was moving out into Marshall County. Ari and her family, including her parents, grandparents, cousins, and all that, had bunkered down in one area.
They bunkered down in one home.
Tragedy struck. And I won't get into what exactly happened because of the near violence, but all I'm going to say is this. For one funeral, for that family, there were 5 caskets.
5.
Both her parents,
Yeah.
I believe a couple of her relatives in that house died from one tornado. That just goes to show just how tragic and how devastated the state was, as well as the entire region from that entire day.
Yeah.
But coming back to Tuscaloosa, the damage was already done.
Look at that.
And now they
I
needed
think it's hard to watch.
They needed a prayer and they needed a distraction. Thankfully, football season was coming right around the corner, and the Crimson Tide are basically...
Look how wide that is, too.
Yeah. Also, if we go back in this photo, I think someone's covering both ends with their with fat fingers. There.
This is like where the camera. They had the camera
lift up the hearts and the spirits of an entire...
I saw like a finger.
This was a very tough task that only few teams have done before and after this day.
Yeah.
But the grand scope of things, I feel Alabama had its task. Win for the city. Bring happiness to the city. Bring something back that will get the city back on their feet and spread joy and make people forget about the horrific tragedy of April 27th, 2011. In total, in the state of Alabama, 253 people had died. Over $1 billion of damage was recorded, and lives were forever changed.
I kept the music,
especially for those that survived. Yeah,
it was a good call.
Well, let's go take a look at how Alabama prepared for the 2011 season.
Pause.
Okay.
If you noticed a couple times during this production, when we had to put the song on the video, that's where it is. This was one of 2 times in the next 2 acts where we are like, I'm putting the song right at the beginning, right alongside with the act.
Right.
I've only done that twice with this. This is the first time.
Coach, I remember you.
And here's the continuation of that clip.
Yeah, there's a continuation of it.
To go out there and help the community during that time. But how special was it for you to see the 2011 and 2012 football teams play for that community, win championships for that community, and just seeing how the community was in it with the football team to win those championships? How proud did that make you?
Well, I think first of all, I was really proud of our team. I think it's a really important sort of lesson of life for these guys to learn how to give back to the community, give back to our fans, give back to the people who supported us, which is exactly what I said to the players 10 years ago. And, you know, their response to that was phenomenal in terms of things that they did out in the community to help other people. I know the players helped Miss Terry with mixed kids. You know, Thompson Tractor gave bulldozers, and she had Fluker on the bulldozer. And I think it galvanized our team, and I think our team really wanted to accomplish something special for the community by winning a championship. And I think that the community certainly supported the team in a different kind of spirit than we've ever had, motivated by what was, you know, a horrific event in terms of something that we all had to deal with. But I do think there were a lot of positive lessons that were learned. Certainly really proud of our team for winning the Disney Spirit Award for community service, for all the things that they did to help people in the community. So it was
I want to read that real quick. Also, going to say, I think you went on a little too long about what was on the Crystal Tide shoulders and the Jones devastation. I wasn't trying to repeat. I mean, that's just the way I talk, and you know that.
Yeah.
That's just the way I like it.
Yeah, I don't mind where the music credits are as long as.
So with the cleanup done and the rebuilding beginning, the football team had to focus on their season. Now, a lot of players had left the school prior. The most notable names on this list being running back Mark Ingram and receiver Julio Jones. But a lot of players did manage to stay.
And I did forget one name on that, and I know people were like, well, why didn't you talk about him? Because he was never on the goddamn waiver wire in the first place. Nor was he even in talks of being on the waiver wire, and that was Trent Richardson. There's another part of that damn team.
We also need to say something there. Trent fucking Richardson.
Yeah.
If you get that reference, watch Tree's video on the Browns.
On the offensive side of the ball, the players that returned, really not notable. Some of the names in there include Barrett Jones, Michael Williams, Marquise Mays, Darius Hanks.
Spoilers.
On defense, though, there were some notable future NFL names on this list. Guys like Dante Hightower, C.J. Mosley, and D. Milner on that list. Even guys like Nico Johnson and Trey Kirkpatrick making a return. And on special teams,
That one I probably got smacked for, too.
Stinker. Yep. The man that was injured from the Tuscaloosa tornado on the 27th of April 2011 returned to the team. The injuries, they weren't going to hold him back. In fact, he told the injuries to sit the fuck down, shut up, and live with themselves.
I think this one I also got smacked for.
Alabama was ready to go, and they had a fire under their ass.
We did.
After going 10-3
What,
last season, they needed a wake-up
The reference.
call. And as unfortunate as it may have sounded
Say
back
Avita's
then,
in
and even does still to this day,
section?
maybe that tragedy was the way.
Did I get smacked for that one or no?
Needed.
No.
They needed something to fight for, and they got
I
it.
get
in the
smacked
form
for
of
you,
fighting
Happy
for
Red.
the city, fighting for their people, and fighting to restore pride in a city that has suffered so much. Let's go right to week 1 versus Kent State.
There's not going to be as much discussion here.
A very
there's only gonna be like limited.
Probably,
this one.
We might talk about each item on the bottom for my references.
Maybe not.
Kent State and
We don't need that. We don't need that.
Well, for this one, of course, it's
kind of just straightforward.
Ducks of Fan of Akron, I went with.
Yeah, it was straightforward.
It was a corner gas reference.
They got
Florida.
chewed up and spit the fuck out by Alabama. This game was just one-sided, and like, what is there really to say? Alabama just beat a fucking mid-major team that had really nothing going for it, and in the end, it fucking showed. 49-7, Alabama whipped ass. Like ass did not need whipping enough. Alabama starts the season 1-0, despite some hiccups here and there, but those can be changed and fixed in due time.
What's important
Funny
about
enough,
this game, this
for
is the
this,
first home game after the tornado.
Kent
Jesus
State was
Christ,
5
Kent
and
State's gonna
7.
need some fucking burn cream for their ass after this. Oh man. Well,
And the result's
the
still
momentum up.
expected.
We
Nittany Lion Roadkill.
to the Happy Valley and play some good old Big Ten football.
Okay, to be clear,
You're playing the 23rd
I think with this one we were
ranked
like,
Penn State
okay, let's
team
have some of the funny
that
shit
is still
back.
trying to find their footing after.
Again, you didn't even explain it. It was all straightforward.
Let's
Yeah.
just say some unfortunate bullshit. Anyhow, this game was hard fought by both sides. Defenses played pivotal parts. Offenses tried their best to get through, but only one fucking team could win. And in this case, it had to be Alabama. 27-11 in a game that was very tough. And honestly, it was fucking physical beyond all shit. In the game where Penn State was held to only 11 points, and Alabama didn't even get past 30 against a team that could be seen as inferior to the Crimson Tide, was really something, especially at the time. It proved that Penn State could ball with the big guys, and it honestly instilled some confidence in that program. Alabama, though, they saw this as another win. 2-0 on the season, and a lot to look forward to. The city was healing slowly. And with it, thanks to the football team in part of that. Week 3, though, they had another test coming. Well, it's
Wrestling
right.
reference.
We got some mean green in this bitch.
Enough said.
All right then. Wham! Belt right to the ass. Alabama really just said, you ain't coming into my house and just expecting to score anything. Yeah, and
No,
I'm gonna
this
throw you
was
off my
the
knee,
first
and I'm
of a,
gonna
I think like the
spank
first of a
shit
couple
out of you,
shows.
shutting you out 41-0 on my home turf. Jesus Christ, no mercy was shown on these goddamn Mean Green. In fact, it was no mercy to the point where the Mean Green can't even be called the Mean Green. They're just called Baby Green now.
Baby
They're
green.
just called Baby Green.
They are now the baby green.
There's no exceptions. There is no excuses.
They are now baby
It's
green.
just the Baby Green. I don't care. No, shut it. Shut it. We're not doing this. They are called the Baby Green. Because they were fucking babied around by Alabama's offense all day long. The defense, same story. It was a brick fucking wall. It was about as impenetrable as the Berlin Wall was during the height of the Cold War. That is how bad Alabama put belt to ass on North Texas. For fuck's sake, I knew Alabama was playing with a fucking goal in mind, but I didn't think this was a part of the plan. They didn't realize fucking second-degree murder on a football program was part of that whole freaking spiel. Well, I guess it's something, I suppose. You're 3-0, so that's at least something to look forward to. On to week 4, fuckers. Jesus fucking Christ. I knew Alabama was hungry for some ribs, but I didn't expect them to go to Arkansas, fucking find a random bar, behead the son of a bitch, carve it up, and then serve it over a goddamn smoker barbecue. Because that's exactly what they did to the Arkansas Razorbacks. Jesus fucking Christ. 14th ranked in the country, and they were embarrassed by Alabama. 38
No, they were
14,
12th, not 14th at the
and an
time.
ass whipping so bad, Chuck Norris would be jealous. Like, holy fuck, how do you beat ass like that? I mean, again, Alabama was just hungry. And Alabama came to play, and boy, did they fucking put belt to ass. This was an instance of a team that was angry, but also took the physicality out, not on themselves, but on their opponents. The brick wall defense once again held firm, and AJ McCarron fucking balled out against the Razorbacks. That secondary was no use in trying to stop the Crimson Tide from rolling on. This is why they say roll tide, because some weeks Alabama will just fucking roll past their opponents, or in some cases directly over them, causing them to be a freaking pancake. But the point stands. Arkansas, you fucking suck. That's the point. What? Was fucking smoked pork barbecue not enough? You want to fucking dry eat some gators?
Okay. Just don't be mad when people start going to my fucking house asking questions. It's not my fucking problem. Because you walked into Gainesville, Florida, and you beat the fuck out of the Florida Gators. Oh boy. 38-10. Jesus Christ. Look, I get the redemption story that's going on. And by God, they really want a redemption for that city. And I get it. Emotions fucking make you play more aggressively. And in this case, it's no fucking different. They marched into Gainesville. They put bell to ass severely. Took the corpses of the dead Gators, put them in a smoker, and did whatever the hell. Because by fucking golly, Alabama whipped ass again. What are we up to now? 5-0 in the season? Jesus. The tide is rolling through very, very efficiently, to say the least. For Alabama fans, this is what they wanted to see. This was the distraction that was desperately needed. And they are getting it. Let's roll on to the next week.
Oh,
I really feel like Vanderbilt didn't even try.
joke reason.
They kind of just saw Alabama walk into their stadium and then just laid down and
Also, yeah, we got.
think, if you will,
I
how
love
someone
you.
laid down and died against Georgia Tech back in 1916, but significantly lessened the scale. In this case, that's exactly what it was. Alabama shut out Vanderbilt. For the second time this season, Alabama has secured a fucking shutout victory. 34-0. Jesus Christ. How the fuck do you keep beating the shit out of the same teams over and over again? 6-0 on the season. The city's feeling good. The team's feeling good. Nick Saban's even starting to crack a little smile there. And that's what you like to see. When your old coach who doesn't smile starts to crack a smile at your performance. But then, okay, he may be a hard ass, but you know what? He's the best damn coach you've had since Bear Bryant. Fucking work with that. Oh, wait, you got Old Piss next? Fucking phenomenal. I can't wait to see how Alabama handles them. Well, fucking Christ. I knew pre-Lane Kiffin Ole Miss was bad, but like this? Jesus fucking Christ. Did you even bother to play football today, Ole Miss? Or did you just decide to rebel against your fucking coach? Because clearly, you don't care about football this season. It's very fucking evident you don't. Because, look at, if you cared about football, you wouldn't lose 52-7 against the Crimson Tide, who came in, put belt to ass, and left. That's their pretty much motto. Come in, beat ass, leave. It's like they're turning into the Roman Reigns of the fucking college football world. And that's exactly what Alabama is experiencing in this moment. Fucking Christ. Like, Ole Miss, okay, I'm trying to wrap my head around this still, because this score is bizarre. How in the fuck do you lose to Alabama that badly? I get this is pre-Kiffin, but fucking Christ. But this is a team that clearly does not give a shit. It's evident.
Mhm.
So what's next? You're gonna fucking tell me they beat Tennessee next week? Yeah, fucking right. Nice fucking try, bozo. You know, for the first Saturday in October, I
Yeah,
really
we gotta
thought
reference
this was
one
gonna
of
be a more competitive
Their
game.
fellow creators.
Competitive, it was
Sports
not.
world.
One-sided, that's more the right language. Tennessee just could not fucking put up any sort of defensive prowess against Alabama, and as a result, they got spanked. They got fucking spanked hard. Alabama once again goes into another goddamn stadium as a goddamn visiting team. It just proceeds to beat the shit out of the other team and leave. In this case, in a very important rivalry game against a goddamn conference rival in Tennessee. 37-6. Jesus fucking Christ. Volunteerism strikes again. I wish it was more. But now Alabama has
Okay.
after an 8-0 start to start the fucking season, things are looking pretty damn bright for the Tide and for the city of Tuscaloosa as a whole. The city has begun rebuilding. They've been rebuilding for some time, and things are looking pretty promising in the city. It's like the scar of the tornado is slowly disappearing and finally able to begin putting it behind them, which is very good. Healing may take time. Some memories you can't get rid of. But in this case, the people of Tuscaloosa begin to move forward, which is good. It helps the healing process. It may be tragic what happened, but any chance to move on that you can get, along with a aspect of inner peace, that's really helps the process. So let's go on to post-bye week and what the fuck? Come on.
Here we go.
Music playing now. What the fuck is this shit? What in the Cody Rhodes fuck is this sound?
Yep.
We could have named this anything regarding.
Yeah, anything could have been used for this.
So I was like, yeah, screw it. Let's go with the music reference.
Defense is mainly
We
carrying
went
this
with
game,
Prelude to Bullshit.
leading to fucking field goals by both teams. How we couldn't even get done this game in the full 60. We needed added time for this game to be concluded. Between the number 1 and number 2 schools in the country, we are literally doing this shit. A game with literally almost no scoring, and we had to go to goddamn overtime to decide it, where the winning play was a field goal to have LSU win 9-6.
9-6.
So we're just having shit
That was
games
bad.
now.
Keep the juice
I mean,
engaged.
I get it. Every team has,
Oh yeah.
one bad shitty fucking game a year. It makes sense. Just, I'm not sure if this is really the right time for that, I suppose. But all I can really say at this point, Alabama, just bounce back. You'll be fine. It's one loss. You're not out of it. Yeah, you get demoted to the 4th seed, but for right now, you're fine. Just try to win out the rest of the way and hope to God you can make the SEC championship. God help you.
I kept the.
Well, everything seems bad to the status quo.
Yeah, I kept the
Just
magic
slowly
reference.
get in there. That is.
Just with the music.
They go into Starkville and play yet another Mississippi school. This time they play Mississippi State. A team that hasn't seen fucking success since the fucking second coming of Jesus Christ. And that's how bad it is with Mississippi State. For a game that, in which two teams really don't like each other, especially this is, the Battle of US 82, this game wasn't really all hyped up. Especially when given how Alabama was coming off of a loss to LSU and Mississippi State, was Mississippi State. Not really the best there. But in saying that, Mississippi State did play a damn good game this time around, but their defense just kind of sold what it mattered the most. Alabama wins 24-7, and Alabama bounces back from that loss to number 1 LSU. I told you everything was going to be fine in the long run, just had to take a little bit to get there.
Yeah.
But Alabama's still charging through it the best they can with the best they got. At least next week you get a break when you're facing an FCS squadron, at least. So, FCS week. Yeah, I mean, there was really nothing going into this. It was just the expected beatdown of an FCS squadron and... Wait, Georgia Southern? You mean the team that's in the fucking Sunbelt? All right, I forgot this is before they joined the FBS years later. Huh. I didn't realize they were in the FCS 15 years ago, but shows you how fucking time flies. Anyway, the Eagles really didn't do shit and expectedly got beat the shit out of by Alabama by more than 3 scores. Actually, by exactly 3 scores. The high end. 45-21, and probably the most expected result ever.
They were
Alabama
crazy.
wins again. And improve again to 10-1. Maybe Alabama
Actually-
get their shit together because next week they got a formidable foe in Auburn. But for this
By the way,
week,
that
the
21
Steelers
points
played
was the
pretty
most
good against
points Alabama
Cyprus,
allowed all season.
You know,
Yeah, hang on.
against an FCS squadron. You know, it just is what it is. Because in football, there's two things you gotta learn. That there's either gonna be competitive, well-balanced games, or there's gonna be games where you just beat the shit out of someone. But they don't tell you about the third game. The game where players can get a fucking break by beating the shit out of an FCS squadron. Just don't tell 2007 Michigan about that part because they kind of forgot about it. But anywho, I think it's finally time we head to the Iron Bowl.
Okay, can we pause here before Iron Bowl here for a minute? Because I have to do a little bit of some clarifications on a couple of things.
What?
When we were in the Schubert one, even though Mississippi got 2 wins that season, those wins were vacated. And Georgia Southern was in the SoCon.
Talk about
And up
the
till
legendary
2020.
Iron Bowl
2014.
game. There is something I would like to share about Auburn. See, when the tornado originally happened back in April, honestly, Alabama was in a state of disarray. The entire state, as we know it, was in disarray. But Auburn football fans, especially actually Auburn altogether, helped support Tuscaloosa and the university in many ways. The two coaches were seen together, Nick Saban and then head coach at the time, Gene Chizik, got his guys to go to Birmingham and help out with the tornado recovery efforts, since that city was also utterly destroyed. The two men, Saban and Chizik, stood together at the NFL draft when Roger Goodell helped with the moment of silence to pay tribute to the victims of our loss. A class act by two rival coaches. Something that you really love to see in football. Unity. And as someone pointed out to me a long time ago, there are some things that are bigger than rivalries in football. This is one of them. Despite being rivals for decades, the two schools have a lot of respect for each other. But apparently not enough respect to keep it a close game, because Alabama whipped them 42-14 in a clear showing of where the fuck Alabama wanted to be. They wanted to be in the national championship. Because it was either that or God knows what. So it was on to the SEC championship game. What do you mean they didn't make the SEC championship game?
Simple. Here was really simple. I forgot about divisions. Simple as that. I forgot about divisions. Like a dumb cunt.
Murray. Intercepted. Picked off by Morris Claiborne. Heads to the 5. In for the touchdown.
Part number 1.
Study it, get stronger, get better, bring your team back next year.
Yeah, sure, they lost to LSU, but come on now. You mean to tell me they were snubbed and they want to play Georgia and LSU won? I don't even know what to say. Well, Alabama, you got one shot left.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
I still don't know how the hell they got chosen, but yeah.
Wait, wait, what? So, despite the fact Georgia probably did good damage against LSU in the SEC title game, Alabama goes in as the number 2. Once again against LSU.
What?
The team that
Yeah.
they fucking lost
No.
to
I'm
in
looking at someone else here,
overtime
right?
by
Okay.
field goal killings. And we're doing this again.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fast forward because I do have to go soon.
Yeah. Do the joke.
Ah, God, King! It's Thunder! Now we're going to retire somebody! This is it. The BCS National Championship. The true battle. I'm going to skip you my dialogue.
Yeah.
But also,
A little dialogue skip.
Alabama.
And here we go with the best part.
Field goals galore. We all know how this ends.
Malik, one touchdown.
21-0. Yeah. And the first shutout in the history of the BCS National Championship game, Alabama did it. Alabama won the national championship. Tuscaloosa was roaring. The city felt triumph.
How do you whiff a chip shop?
About
I don't
8
know.
months after a deadly outbreak. 8 to 9 months after that, they finally felt triumph. Alabama did it. They brought Tuscaloosa from the brink. Were they mad? Were people really mad about this BCS matchup? No, you're thinking of the next year between Bama and Notre Dame. That's what you're thinking of.
There was another Alabama LSU matchup too. That was a little bit pissy too.
This is truly
Let me take a look.
In football history, in just history as a whole, because not many teams get to have this honorable prestige. Some have tried, many have failed. Only a few have succeeded, and by God, Alabama succeeded and then some. And they had a great season. They got their revenge on those Tigers, and they brought glory to Tuscaloosa in a time where they really and truly needed it.
Tuscaloosa has been through a great deal, and you and your team have been very involved. It's just a football game and a victory. But what message do you hope to send to that town tonight?
Well, I think it gives everybody a lot of joy and spirit and hope, that we're going to continue to work and move forward and try to help people restore their lives in our community. But things like this make everybody happy and give them a lot of hope.
In this part, all this really is, I'm not gonna bore you with the rest of this, but essentially, the rest of that was just wrapping everything up into a bow and kind of just
and then throwing Nimrod in there to finish it off.
Yeah.
And the last song, I get it. But you guys kind of caught the hint. I actually Bluey used Jupiter.
Right.
Jupiter, and I was like, I think Jupiter actually fits there too.
Right.
Which kind of sucks that you cut off that middle part.
Okay. But again, that was essentially everything, That we went over everything that we possibly could. We touched a lot about certain aspects as opposed to others. And I think that made for damn good video. I mean, in my opinion, at least. But if you want to watch the entire thing uninterrupted, obviously you can find it on the channel. It'll be there. But for now, I do have to go. So I am going to call the stream for tonight. So thank you to everyone for tuning in.
Channels relatively soon, actually.
Yeah, so for now, go join Duck on his stream at Red Rubber Duckwin for Game 7 of the first round between the Cavs and the Raptors. Be sure to like, subscribe, share everyone you know. Let's keep spreading that documentary around. Let's get to avenues not known before. That's been Hell, the editor. Thank you for helping me with that video, dude. I really do appreciate it. That was a fucking haul. And maybe we might just do another one soon.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it. But for now, that's been Health. I've been Elijah with Canadian. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Go join Duck on his stream, and I'll see you guys later. Take care.
Peace.
Peace.